Across about 1.4 billion monthly active Windows 10 and 11 devices, updates can arrive while their owners keep working. Your machine may compare what it has with what Microsoft offers, then prepare changes to Windows itself. That raises the central mystery. How does a living operating system rebuild itself without collapsing beneath your hands? You may see nothing more than a small icon, a percentage, then the dreaded request to restart. Yet that bland message hides a carefully staged operation. Windows must preserve what worked, introduce what changed, and keep a route back if something goes wrong. The quiet screen conceals a machine preparing its own escape plan. Windows Update did not spring into existence fully formed. Over several generations, Microsoft moved the job from a website you sought out to alerts, to automatic delivery, and finally inside Windows itself. Each step gave the machine more responsibility and raised a harder question. How much control should your computer take over its own repair? Inside your PC, the Windows Update agent is the coordinator that checks for available updates. Its background service carries the internal name WAUAUSERV. On Windows 10 and later, another part called the Update Orchestrator helps decide when that work happens. Long before you see a button or warning, this hidden crew can quietly begin taking stock. The first download is not the repair itself. It is metadata, a compact catalog describing the available updates. Windows reads each entry's applicability rules, the conditions saying which installed versions needed. Your PC then filters the catalog down to its own requirements. The remarkable trick is subtraction, deciding what not to bring home. The route depends on where your Windows machine lives. A home PC usually contacts Windows Update or Microsoft Update. A workplace can use Windows Server Update Services, shortened to WSUS, where administrators approve Microsoft updates before distributing them internally. This path covers desktops, laptops, tablets, and servers, not phones, because modern Windows no longer runs on them. After Windows chooses an update, the servicing stack, the machinery that installs and removes Windows parts, takes over through trusted installer and component-based servicing. It works with WinSxS, the store holding system component versions. Then comes the strange loop. A servicing stack update can improve this installation machinery first, so it is ready to handle the larger job. Return to 1998. Windows 98 has no built-in update screen waiting to help you. You must open a browser, travel to windowsupdate.microsoft.com, and ask the site to examine your PC. Miss that ritual and nothing begins. Updating is still a destination, a place outside the operating system that depends on you remembering the way. Once there, the site loaded an ActiveX control, a small program permitted to inspect Windows from inside the browser. It scanned the PC, compared what was installed with Microsoft's available patches, and offered choices. This was more than viewing a web page. You were letting code from the site reach through the glass and examine the machine beneath it. Watch, control, migrate from your hands into the machine. In 1998, you started the search. In 1999, Windows could warn you that critical patches were waiting. Around Windows ME, Windows 2000, and XP, automatic updates began fetching them. The next turning point would not add another reminder. It would change the default for millions of owners. In 1999, the Critical Update Notification tool became Windows Lookout. It checked in the background for critical patches and alerted you when one appeared. It did not complete the whole job, but it broke the old dependency. The first move no longer had to come from you. For the first time, Windows could tap you on the shoulder. Automatic updates pushed responsibility further, appearing around Windows ME, Windows 2000, and Windows XP. The feature could obtain updates without sending you back to the website. That changed the shape of maintenance. Instead of beginning with a remembered journey, it could begin inside Windows. The owner was no longer required to open the gate each time. Then, in 2004, Windows XP Service Pack 2 made automatic updates on by default. You could still change the setting, but a new installation now assumed delivery should happen unless you intervened. One default quietly shifted the burden of memory. Microsoft no longer relied on each owner repeatedly deciding to begin. Vista changed more than the controls. Introduced in 2006 to 2007, it brought component-based servicing, or CBS, machinery that installs Windows as separately managed parts. Updating moved off the website and into the operating system. Windows was no longer merely receiving repairs from outside. It had gained an internal workshop built to manage its own pieces. Not every update is the same kind of cargo. Monthly quality updates repair the current version. Feature updates deliver a new Windows version. Drivers, Defender definitions, and updates for the installer itself can arrive too. Each carries a KB number, Microsoft's identifying label, such as KB5034123. Before asking what fits, Windows must know what kind of package it is considering. Now the catalog becomes a test. For each candidate, the Windows Update Agent checks its applicability rules against the exact versions of Windows components already installed on your PC. One update may be needed. Another may already be satisfied. Another may not belong there. The server supplies possibilities, but your own machine delivers the verdict. Windows keeps much of that component history inside WinSxS, its component store. The folder can look enormous because File Explorer counts hard links, multiple directory entries pointing to the same stored data, as though each were separate. The DISM tool, Windows Servicing Command, reports the true size. Even the disk display can mislead you about what Windows retains. Before installation, Windows checks the package's cryptographic signature, mathematical evidence that the update is genuine and has not been altered. Think of it as a tamper-evident seal that is extremely difficult to counterfeit. Choosing the right package is not enough. The servicing stack must also verify that the material asking to enter can be trusted. Vista rebuilt Windows updating around component-based servicing, or CBS, the machinery that tracks Windows as connected parts rather than one indivisible block. Windows 10 then added tools to coordinate and tailor delivery. For you, the crucial result is precision. Windows can change the parts your machine needs without treating the entire operating system as a single replacement. Inside a company, updates may pause at a gate called Windows Server Update Services, or WSUS. It lets administrators control which Windows updates their managed PCs receive and when. But the gatekeeper does not erase differences between machines. Once an update is approved, each PC still determines whether that particular package fits what is installed. Once Windows knows what you need, the real cargo begins moving. Historically, the Background Intelligent Transfer Service, or BITS, carried files quietly while trying not to crowd your connection. But arrival is not action. The package is still waiting at the operating room door. Windows has identified the procedure, yet its installation machinery must perform it. That innocent phrase, an update, hides a crowded cast. Your queue might contain routine Windows repairs, an early look at future changes, instructions for hardware, fresh information from Microsoft Defender, improvements to the installer itself, or a new Windows version. They share one waiting room, but they are not the same operation. Let's open the packages. A quality update maintains the Windows version already under your fingertips. The regular security package is Microsoft's B release, commonly associated with Patch Tuesday. Optional C or D releases preview some later changes. Despite the name, quality is not a deluxe edition. You stay on the same Windows version while its existing parts are repaired and refined. A feature update is a bigger crossing. It moves your PC to a new version of Windows. Afterward, later repair packages are built for that new version. The update screen may make this look like ordinary maintenance, but the scale is different. One kind fixes the house you occupy. This kind moves you onto Windows' next floor plan. Want to know how much space Windows Component Store truly occupies? File Explorer can mislead you because many names may point to the same stored data rather than separate copies. Microsoft's DISM tool, the built-in utility for inspecting and repairing Windows, can report the store's real size and say whether cleanup is recommended. The frightening total may not be what it seems. Some arrivals are not Windows repairs at all. Windows Update can bring drivers, which help hardware communicate with Windows, and Defender definitions, which help Microsoft Defender recognize threats. It can also update the installation machinery itself. Each item carries a knowledge base identifier, shortened to KB, such as KB5034123, giving you a precise label when several very different packages share the queue. Missed several months? Since Windows 10, you generally do not have to climb through each release one by one. The latest cumulative update, or LCU, bundles the fixes issued since your current Windows version began. Install the newest applicable LCU, and that version becomes current. The convenience hides a weighty truth. The newest bundle carries the accumulated repair record. A bundle that keeps accumulating fixes can grow unwieldy. Windows 11 version 24H2 answered with checkpoint cumulative updates in 2024. A checkpoint gives later packages a newer starting point, rather than forcing them to measure changes from a much older one. You still choose the latest applicable update. Behind the screen, Windows has shortened the distance its package must cover. Imagine changing one paragraph in a book. Would you mail the entire book again? Windows often avoids sending a complete system file. Instead, it can send a differential, a mathematical description of the differences between an earlier version and the required one. Your PC uses material it already holds to build the result, turning a download into reconstruction. Picture two versions of the same page laid side by side. Microsoft records the changes needed to turn the known earlier version into the newest one. That recipe is called a forward differential. Your PC combines the recipe with material already stored locally and reconstructs the intended component. The network carries the change instructions, not necessarily every piece of the finished file. Now, Windows chooses which change recipes belong to you. The Unified Update Platform, or UUP, is the system that can download only the pieces needed for your PC's installed state. Two computers requesting the same named update may start from different versions of Windows parts. UUP accounts for that difference, so their downloads do not necessarily contain identical pieces. Then comes the counterintuitive trick. Windows can keep reverse differentials, recipes for working backward from a newer component toward the original version first released by Microsoft. Why remember the way back? That reference lets Windows reconstruct a dependable starting point before calculating another change. Your PC can recover the needed reference without downloading that whole original file again. All that reconstruction can make a visible difference. Using these and newer packaging techniques, Microsoft reduced Windows 11 cumulative update size by roughly 40%. An earlier package represented as 100 would become about 60. Your actual download can vary with the state of your machine, but the principle holds. Sending carefully chosen differences is often far leaner than shipping complete files. A checkpoint changes where Windows begins its calculation. Instead of repeatedly reaching back toward the original release, later updates can work from a newer known state. Think of crossing a river by stepping onto a fresh stone placed nearer the far bank. For you, the screen looks familiar. Underneath, Windows has reduced how much history each later package may need to span. The progress bar conceals the real marvel. Windows may not be unpacking a box of finished replacement files at all. It can be checking what your PC already contains, selecting tailored change instructions, and rebuilding the required parts from known states. What looks like an ordinary download is sometimes a mathematical negotiation between the Windows you have and the Windows you need. Reconstruction solves only half the problem. Windows must still replace parts it may be using at that very moment, and survive if the operation goes wrong. The next act belongs to the servicing stack, the installation machinery inside Windows. It must stage the new pieces, control the handover, and preserve a path back without pulling the floor from beneath your running PC. Here is the strange part. The Windows file you open may actually live inside WinSxS, the component store. A hard link gives those same stored bytes another name elsewhere, such as in System32. It is neither a shortcut nor a duplicate. You see the familiar location. Windows keeps ownership of the underlying component, ready for careful servicing. So, why can WinSxS look much larger than the space it truly consumes? File Explorer may count shared bytes once under WinSxS and again under another Windows folder. The disk has not stored them twice. Explorer has counted two names for the same material. Across many system components, that innocent bookkeeping quirk can produce a startlingly inflated total. To learn the component store's real size, Windows needs a specialist. DISM, Deployment Image Servicing and Management, is a built-in tool that examines and maintains Windows itself. Unlike File Explorer, it understands which component bytes are shared with other folders. Its analysis separates shared material from space used only by the store, giving you the measurement that folder properties cannot. When the new component is ready, Trusted Installer takes the controls. That is Windows' specially authorized installer for protected system parts. Working through component-based servicing, the system that tracks those parts and their versions, it places the package where Windows can manage it. This is not a reckless file swap. Windows is changing a recorded component whose earlier state remains available. Now the reason for keeping old component versions becomes urgent. If an update goes wrong, Windows may need to retreat. WinSxS holds the earlier material required to restore the previous component state cleanly. The folder that looked wasteful becomes an escape route. Windows can try a replacement without immediately throwing away the version that was working before. Put the pieces together on your own machine. The Windows folders you recognize present the working system. The component store keeps the version servicing may need. Trusted Installer controls protected changes. That arrangement gives an update somewhere to retreat if a replacement fails. The apparent clutter is deliberate. Windows preserves a path back before asking a new component to carry the load. Building the repair is only half the challenge. Microsoft must also move it to PCs with wildly different connections. Without making your video call or web page fight for every drop of data. Windows therefore manages how update downloads travel and how aggressively they use the connection. Delivery is not merely transportation. It is a balancing act happening while you continue using the machine. One helper is BITS, short for Background Intelligent Transfer Service. It can bring update data in quietly while giving your active work priority on the connection. Windows 10 added delivery optimization, which can collect needed pieces from permitted sources rather than relying on one uninterrupted transfer. If the connection falters, the journey need not behave like a single all-or-nothing shipment. Delivery optimization can obtain update pieces from Microsoft, from another PC on your local network, or, if permitted, from PCs on the internet. Those machines do not design or alter the update. They can only provide pieces they already hold. Your PC assembles the required content, while Windows still verifies the finished package's signature before trusting it as genuine. You are not required to let strangers' PCs help deliver an update. Delivery optimization is configurable. It can use Microsoft alone, allow sharing only among machines on your local network, or permit internet sources as well. That choice lets a household or organization decide where update pieces may come from. The distributed route is an option Windows can use, not an unavoidable swarm. The benefit appears when several permitted sources hold the same needed piece. Your PC can choose an available route instead of depending solely on Microsoft's update servers. Delivery optimization does not guarantee that another machine will help. It merely creates that possibility when settings and availability allow it. The update remains the same, but its route to you can change from moment to moment. This hidden traffic has local controls. Bits and delivery optimization run as Windows services, background helpers that perform specific jobs without needing a window open. Technical tools can show whether those helpers are running, and, during a transfer, where delivery optimization is obtaining data. The worldwide delivery system therefore reaches all the way down to quiet workers operating inside your own PC. There is no single instant when the world receives a Windows update. Each PC checks its own eligibility, settings, connection, and available sources. One may download directly from Microsoft, another may also collect permitted pieces elsewhere. What looks to you like one progress bar is actually a delivery plan assembled for that machine, under conditions that can change while the download is underway. The repair is ready. But Microsoft does not simply release it and hope. When should it enter your PC? Who goes first? Who watches for trouble? And what happens if one harmless-looking change begins breaking machines? The operation runs on a human calendar, then shifts to machine judgment. This is where software engineering becomes logistics under pressure. Patch Tuesday, the industry nickname for Microsoft's monthly update day, means the second Tuesday of each month. Microsoft formalized that rhythm on 14th October 2003. Internally, the scheduled monthly package is the B release. The predictable date gave administrators time to prepare, Microsoft time to coordinate, and the world a shared servicing heartbeat. But the date is only the opening of the operation. The B release enters a widening rollout, not one global blast. Windows Insider rings, groups of machines receiving pre-release Windows changes, provide early signals. After release, telemetry, meaning diagnostic evidence reported by participating PCs, helps Microsoft judge crashes, installation failures, and compatibility trouble. If the signals remain healthy, availability widens. If they turn, the light can stop moving outward. Suppose the incoming evidence begins to look wrong. Failures cluster around a particular kind of PC or setup. Microsoft can stop widening availability while engineers investigate. That pause is not the delivery system giving up. It is the gate doing its job. A gradual rollout creates time to spot trouble before the same change reaches many more machines. Eventually, the global operation becomes a decision on your PC. The Update Orchestrator, the modern Windows coordinator for update activity, works with schedules and the machine's eligibility to determine when an offer can proceed. You usually never see that clockwork. You see only the result. A download begins, a percentage climbs, and a release planned far away finally reaches your screen. A bad change slips through, but Microsoft may not need to tear out the whole monthly update. Known Issue Rollback, or KIR, is a cloud-controlled switch that can turn off one troublesome non-security change while leaving the other repairs intact. Your PC returns to the earlier behavior, often before many machines encounter the problem. One monthly visitor may arrive, search, and vanish before you notice. The Malicious Software Removal Tool, or MSRT, comes through Windows Update, checks your PC for a defined set of widespread threats, reports what it found, and leaves. It is not a full-time guard, just a quiet inspection aimed at particular dangers Microsoft is seeing widely. A fix can be finished and waiting at Microsoft while the vulnerable PC remains unchanged. Perhaps the machine has not checked, the rollout has not reached it, or installation has been delayed. That gap between available and installed can seem invisible, until the consequences fill the screen. In 2017, that gap became impossible to ignore. Microsoft released MS 17-010 for supported Windows on 14 March 2017. In April, the stolen Eternal Blue exploit leaked. Then, on 12 May, WannaCry struck machines that had not installed the repair. The UK's NHS was hit hard. That is the dramatic irony. Roughly 2 months before screens went dark, the necessary fix already existed. Availability was not the same as protection. Before you imagine this reaching every PC, check the label. A machine's Windows version and edition decide whether it can use the next technique. For now, the door opens only on specific business and server versions of Windows. The prize is striking. Certain repairs may take effect while the machine and the work happening on it stays available. The technique is called hot patching. It can place certain security repairs directly into Windows code already working in memory, the temporary workspace your PC uses while it runs. On supported Windows 11 Enterprise 24H2 and Windows Server 2025 machines, That means an eligible fix can take effect without first shutting Windows down and starting it again. For you, the difference arrives in the middle of a workday. A conventional repair may eventually ask Windows to close down and start again before the change takes effect. With an eligible hot patch, that interruption can disappear. Your applications may remain open, the machine stays available, and the repair begins protecting the running system behind the scenes. There is still a catch. Hot patching needs occasional foundation resets. During a few baseline months, Windows restarts and lays down a fresh starting point. Eligible repairs in other months can build from it without that interruption. On supported editions, this can reduce security restarts toward about 4 a year. Fewer restarts, not a promise of none. The boundary now becomes the story. Which repairs are safe to make while Windows is awake, and which still demand a full restart? Hot patching supports only certain fixes on certain editions, so the answer will differ from machine to machine. But when it works, maintenance stops feeling like a shutdown and starts becoming something Windows can perform around you.